man, phones really have just degraded our. Sorry.
I know, right?
Welcome back to the degradation of Western society.
Called Anime FMK.
No,
No.
we're here to degrade ourselves. We're not here to talk about anime. We're here to get nasty with phones.
Can we do that on Twitch? Is that in the new terms of service?
It's all right as long as you don't smoke any blunts.
Oh, okay. Or drink more than 5 drinks in a span of 2 hours.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Damn it. I heard some of y'all brought back the drunk stream while I was gone.
I was in Austin.
Grant and
yeah.
Nick did, yeah. I guess they must have had only 5 drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, what is a drink when you think about it?
You just get yourself a big old fucking bucket
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
wine.
I have
It's
one.
just
I
one
have
drink.
one drink. If we want to get real reductive.
Yep. And I do.
I know, always.
Yep. Guys, let's reduce some anime to its basest particles here today. On Anime FMK, I'm your host, I'm Ben.
And I'm Scott.
I'm Kieran.
It's been 2 weeks since we did one of these, so for anybody who's forgotten, we hold up signs. The green means good.
And the red means bad. It's a bad thing. We're
Yep.
going to kill the bad thing.
Means stop.
Yep. If something gets too much red, it might get cut off of our watch list. And there was some controversy over, since we did take a week off, should we be able to kill 2 things this week? Scott came down on the side of free up more of my life. I understand you, Kieran, also came down on that
Yep.
side. I came down on the side of I feel like tiebreakers are a fun part of this show, and I would dislike removing the possibility of a tiebreaker. So, in order to break that tie, while we were waiting for you to get in here, Kieran, we ran an audience poll. If you saw this live on Twitch, you got to vote on the poll. Poll agreed with you guys. So, we can kill up to 2 things this week.
Okay, cool.
That is what we're doing. And those of you who watch on YouTube, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But you weren't here. Sorry.
Man,
Perks of watching live.
Yeah, all you guys who are available to watch streams 2 p.m. on a Monday,
Yep,
you know, you had your chance.
Yep. Sometimes fun things happen live. Let's see if fun things happen in... What the shit are we talking about? Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. In episode 7, everyone plays an MMO together. Then, Monster Hunter and Orange Boy take some kohais out to dinner and talk about girls, while Meganeko and Yaoi Girl go to dinner and have shipping arguments. Then in episode 8, there's a big storm. Then, Monster Hunter is feeling insecure about his relationship with Yaoi Girl and sees Meganeko and Orange Boy having a fight about whether they stay in too much, so Monster Hunter asks Yaoi Girl out on a normie-ass normie date. I like this second episode a lot better than that first one. That first one was kind of garbo.
Oh, what'd you not like about the first one?
I mean, it wasn't, like, offensive or anything. It was just kind of boring.
I thought the RPG stuff was cute, but also, I don't know. I feel like there are some things about the show that I really like in terms of, oh, that's cute, or hey, I identify with that. But it doesn't do a lot with it. It just kind of gives it to you, hands it to you, and says, here, this thing that you identify with. Here it is. And I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. So are you going to do anything creative or deep with it? Hey, where are you going? Hey, please.
Don't have anything to say with it. Don't have a story to tell. It's not going to reveal anything new about these characters. Just you play MMOs, right, nerd?
Yeah, I'm a dumb loser. I play this.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they give you a little hint at the person's personality, but a lot of it is just kind of fluff, and especially the first half of that episode. The second half, I actually really liked.
The second half was all right.
Yeah, I thought the stuff with both Hiro and Taro basically having to keep their mouths shut while their kohais are talking about their girlfriends. And then, alternatively, the shipping argument was really funny for me.
I was a little confused by that. Is there like a no fraternization policy? Are they not supposed to be dating their coworkers, and that's why they can't talk about it?
I'm not exactly sure what the whole deal is, but I think there is a matter of just not talking about the relationships you have? I'm not sure.
Because, I mean, you put me in that situation, I'm like, yeah, that's my girlfriend. She's just as hot as you think she is. It's real good. Deal with it, Kohais.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you know, as much as I know about Japanese culture, this is actually something I'm a little bit more kind of in the dark on. It kind of seemed weird to me that they'd have to sit there and just be like, "Yep, can't say that we're dating." Maybe it's not even a cultural thing. Maybe it's really awkward to talk about. Maybe they don't feel comfortable with it. I don't know, but it just seemed awkward to me.
The only workplace I've ever been in that had an actual no fraternization, well, all of them have had a no dating direct superiors or inferiors.
Yeah.
That's just common sense, or if it's not, it should be. But there was, when I worked at the county library in Tucson, they actually loosened up the rules in the time I was there. Because at the time I got hired, they employed a lot of high schoolers and like early college students to like shelve books.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the time they had if you are over 18, you cannot date somebody under 18. Which seems like a common sense thing. Like, yeah, that's creepy. Don't do that. It's weird. Until you realize, oh, a lot of these people are dating while they're both 17. One of them has a birthday, and then they have to pretend they're not dating for 3 months.
Yeah.
While the other one catches up. So they relax that rule because they realized, oh no, in actual practice, this rule is stupid.
Yeah, and I mean that's why they've got Romeo and Juliet rules.
Yeah.
Like within like 1 year or 2 year, it makes sense.
Yeah, but as far as I can tell, nobody in this situation is in a direct position of authority over anybody else.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess this is a very cultural thing because there's no real explanation in the show proper of why they're so uncomfortable being honest that they're dating. Maybe it has to do with the otaku thing? I don't know. It seems like they're pretty open about it. So and
Yeah.
I never thought they were even like closed about being in a relationship while at the office.
Yeah, that's the thing. They never seemed like they were keeping it on the DL before.
They yell all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well specifically Tado and Hana?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get in arguments about their relationship in the middle of their workplace on their break. I'm confused.
Yep. Which happens here in episode 8, which was, in my opinion, the most interesting part of this whole couple of episodes. Just because it seemed like an actually relatable, character-driven situation where, yeah, she wants to go out, he wants to stay in. That's an argument that couples have. Interestingly, I was watching that on a Sunday with my girlfriend watching anime, and she made sure to turn to me and say, by the way, this totally counts as a date, all right? This is fine.
Yeah. I can see that Hana, though, is like, why don't you ever take me out anywhere?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and I thought it was relatable and realistic the way that he tries to play it. Like, but you like anime too. No, this is fine. And the problem with that is that then when he pivots and says, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll take you out someplace nice. Now it comes across as not him wanting to do it, but him trying to placate her.
Yeah. Other than that, we also get a little bit of Hiro's brother, but he's mercifully used here. Somewhat decent effect because I love the fact that he walks in on Hana and Naru having that conversation and then misreads it entirely and then starts bragging about like, yeah, she thinks yours should be on top. You're number one, and I'm like, that's a good misunderstanding. I thought that was rather funny. Also, I love the whole shipping argument. Like, I thought that was just really funny for me.
Yeah, I can't say I got much out of that.
I wanted to rip my own dick off and shit down my neck.
Yeah, you've been given that face off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get it. I'm some alien. Like this, they don't have any substance. They say a joke. No, they say a thing. They say a haha reference. Like, you get this thing. Like, I make an abridged series in 2009. I did something. Laugh at it. You know what this is. Ha ha ha. Seme-uke. You know what that is. And then nobody does anything. Everyone's super predictable. They're all fucking boring. I want this out of my life. Can you please just fucking... This is like... I had to watch 40 minutes now. And the songs... No good songs.
I like the opening song.
Yeah, the opening song is great. The ending song is great. I'm talking about everything else. Because I actually like the OST. But all the other songs in this, like these past 2 episodes, are really fucking boring.
Yeah, this show's been a real mixed bag, because I do not disagree with your basic level objection to this show, which is that it doesn't have a whole lot of good comedy. It's what it does have that seems to be seems like they're trying to go for comedy is just, hey, look at this reference. That said, it seems like every time I'm prepared to just fucking write this show off, it does just enough. Like, yeah, the Monster Hunter guy is feeling insecure because guess what? His girlfriend has more options than he does. She has more romantic experience than he does. If they were to break up tomorrow, she would probably find herself a new boyfriend way more easily than he would find himself a new girlfriend. That is a relatable source of conflict. I find that interesting. I wish they did that more. I wish they did more with it. I find that interesting to think about and to talk about. So I'm gonna hold up this eggplant. It's not like a strong eggplant. I don't know.
So I've been watching
and I see it. I see it over there, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my dude.
I've been watching this show week to week, and I've gotten different things out of it over time. And the interesting thing is, in these episodes, I found some things that I thought were funny and interesting. And I really like Hirotaka and Naru. And funny enough, I actually still like Hana and Taro. I just feel like they're constantly giving me like these uncomfortable vibes and stuff that I don't quite grasp about the relationship. That seems really... I don't like to watch them when they're fighting. Like, even though I get it, and even though sometimes it can be funny, I don't really enjoy that. What I enjoy is the awkward sensitivities of Naru and Hirotaka's relationship. And we've gotten more of that. But I don't know if that's making up for all of the comedy that it continues to just kind of put down in front of us time after time. A couple of weeks ago, I was like, maybe this is on an upswing. Maybe we'll get more things happening, but less is actually happening. I feel like I'm getting less of what I want and not more. So I'm going to hold this up.
Yep. Okay. I'm not gonna try and argue against it. Like I said, that was just barely an eggplant for me. So
yeah, it's barely a knife for me. It's a knife. This knife is coming from a place of I'm not getting what I want out of this show. I'm just not. Kieran, you can put the knife down now. It's dead.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Unless
it is likely to be dead.
I know. It's not guaranteed.
If 2 other things die this week, that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
I think that would be one of our bloodiest episodes in a season that has been relatively
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing. A lot of this has been a weird season because it's not a lot that's egregiously horrible, and the stuff that I found egregiously horrible has already died at this point. Mm-hmm. But a lot of stuff that's I don't know, I could take it or leave it.
I decided to leave it.
Yeah, and I'm not calling you wrong for doing so. Guys, let's talk about Space Battleship Tiramisu. Speaking of stuff that's been kind of perpetually on my bubble, Episode 8... Subaru redefects back to the Tiramisu only to find a robot living in his quarters. The robot acts cute when people are around, but starts smoking and becomes insulting when their backs are turned. And then in Episode 9, Subaru is framed for stealing the robot's wallet, but it turns out the robot's personality switch was set to evil. Episode 9 FO4, Treehouse of Horror 3, Clown Without Pity. Then the talking pube shows back up again. It's hilarious ?
You also skipped over the first half of that first episode. What with the scraping his brother's mecha, which was kind of the only good part about that episode.
Was it?
I mean.
Was it?
I mean.
Was it? No, I covered it. Subaru redefects back to the Tiramisu. That's what happened. That's the thing that happened.
I mean, there's a whole fucking the first 3 minutes is dedicated to him scraping his brother's mecha though.
Oh my god! I scraped your mecha. There. That was it. That was what happened.
So one of the things that this show does is that it takes mundane, everyday things and then attributes it to a setting that otherwise eschews all of this stuff. Where you have Legends of the Galactic Heroes, which is playing all of this kind of sci-fi shit very straight. Not the mecha shit, but the very sci-fi heavy shit, 100% straight. this is what would happen if you took the modern day aesthetic of, going to the grocery store, going to the convenience store, cleaning out your room, all this shit, and attribute it to a sci-fi setting. And you know what? I like that idea. But for a moment there, I thought we were going to really switch things up for a little while. I thought, oh, hey, his brother's here. Things are going to change and go crazy. And I was like, that's great. We get 2 episodes of that. Then he's back on the tiramisu with a stupid robot who's not funny. Because I've seen this robot joke a billion times before. Like, so many times in anime, in Western culture. And here it is.
Basically Bender.
Yeah, it's thrown down and then immediately undone in the next episode after, oh, there's this conflict. And then the most interesting part of the conflict is then done away off screen with an explanation. And then we get the pubes back. And that was the worst. Because I was like, the pube was funny the one time, and then it comes back with a wife. And I'm like, this joke was barely funny the first time. And now you've brought it back. And these were my 2 least favorite episodes because of what they basically, like, I got so excited about Subaru's brother being another funny character and then out. And I'm like, God damn it. Getting out the tiramisu was like one of the best things the show had done, and then they just undo it. Also, the whole thing about the scratching the mecha was like, that's kind of funny, but you're really ramming this into the ground in the 3 minutes you have to tell this joke.
I can't tell if you're being quiet because you disagree and you don't want to be the odd man out.
No, it's just I can't fathom thinking Wotakoi is funny and not finding this funny.
Okay, I never said Wotakoi was funny, all right?
I just can't fathom it.
Okay.
And not even just you. Other people that are watching it Wotakoi's hilarious and relatable. I'm like, they do nothing. They just say things. Tiramisu is just putting stuff on its head, and I think it's fine. I think the jokes have more often landed for me than they have for other people, and I understand why they miss. I'm its target demographic, so I get it is doing exactly what it needs to for me. But I agree that these are the 2 weakest episodes, and I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I'm still kind of wishy-washy here. I'll still probably watch it on my own regardless of what happens to it, because, again, I will still stand by it's only 7 minutes. That's not 20 minutes of a god-awful show that I'd have to watch more of. So just to guarantee it, at least maybe both die, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I gave this show a very, very fair shake because while it's not targeted to me, I understand it. I get what it's trying to do. But I think it did poorly in these couple of episodes. Really poorly in these couple of episodes. So.
Yeah. The only good thing I can say about these episodes is it's only 7 minutes. And boy, that is such faint praise. It looked like, much like you said, Scott, it looked like it was going a different direction for a while, that it was shaking up the status quo somehow. Nah. And so that's a double kill for Tiramisu. Yeah, this may wind up being our bloodiest episode yet. Hot damn.
Well, at least, and only that 2 things are going to die, but, you got to consider that this is a double up,
yeah.
So.
Still, considering that we had that one golden week of nothing dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It's been a weird season all around.
Poor Stefan. It's hey, guess what?
Yeah, deal with this. All right. Well, let's see what's next on the chopping block. Maybe not. We'll find out. Lupin III Part V. We got episode 8, in which Lupin learns that the Black Notebook is a copy created by Gaston based on the legendary investigator Camille Baudot's photographic memory of the original. There's some assassins, Camille dies, Albert invites Lupin into a trap, which Lupin countertraps, but Albert counters his countertraps and traps Lupin in Lupin's own counter-trap trap. Then in episode 9, there's a bunch of flashbacks to Lupin and Albert being friendly rivals and rivalrous friends in the past. In the present, a bunch of flashy assassins have captured the Black Notebook and are using it in a plot to stage terrorist attacks and get a right-wing asshole elected president of France. I really like the atmosphere here. I cannot follow this goddamn plot, which is why I barely tried in those synopses.
Really?
I'm with you.
Huh. I didn't have any trouble following the plot.
I guess your IQ must be just higher than ours.
I don't know who these characters are. I don't know what they want, and I kind of don't give a shit. And this is a problem that I have a lot with this specific brand of European noir.
Yeah.
Like none of the characters feel like good, well-rounded. Like the music is cool, the action is cool, the animation is cool. It's got so much style going for it, but it feels really light on substance.
I will say I didn't need the assassin guys. The assassin group is the big thorn in the side here because Albert is functioning very well as the
I
villain
like
here.
him a lot.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool. That turn at the end of the episode 8, whichever it was. Of
The first episode
Yeah, the
was-
first
yeah.
episode of our two-parter. That was awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that was great, and I expected it, but it was also just really well pulled
Yeah.
off because I'm like, because the moment he gets shot and then clicks the thing goes off in the river, I'm like, this is very well shot, very well done, and it's nice to see Lupin losing. Lupin loses that exchange very harshly, and Jigen warns him like, you cannot act rashly right now. You're angry, and you're going to lose because of it, and he does.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like the specifics of how did he know how to find the bomb in the car? How did he know to re-switch the guns? Like, how did he predict every move? There's no reason behind it other than he's supposed to be super smart and we're building him up to be this big bad guy until he loses. And he will lose because he's suddenly written not to be as smart as he was now.
There's absolutely a reason that he knew to check his gun and to check his car. And this is the fact that he knows this is Lupin. The fact that they have a history together is important. He knows a lot of how Lupin thinks and acts. A bomb under the car and replacing his bullets. The moment he walked in there, he probably already was able to tell, that's not my boyfriend. He probably knew that was Lupin the entire time, and that's the crazy part about that whole scene.
I mean, probably, but the audience is left to fill in those blanks, and it's a few too many blanks for me to feel good about filling in.
There's a part of me that kind of agrees. I'd like to have seen Albert say, I knew that was you the moment you walked in. That would have instantly, everything would have fallen into place. That's all he needed to say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, but they were partners, so I can totally suspect that he probably knew from the beginning. So for me, it wasn't that big of a jump. I still got a kick out of it. And the idea that whoever owns this notebook basically could rule France because they're like, hey, guess what I've got? Now give me what I want.
Yeah,
it's
you
such a
blackmail everyone. That's
yeah,
really cool.
It's such a cool angle. And I also love the fact that he gives it to Lupin because it's like, hey, so I need you to deliver this for me. As a matter of, yeah, I really cannot be holding on to this right now. So I'm going to give it to the one guy who I fully suspect could hold on to this while everyone tries to get it. And it's true. A lot of people try and get a hold of this notebook. It isn't until the last second that, oh yeah, there's this other group that was not accounted for. They're the worst part because, one, I'm sorry, I don't need more assassins. I don't need more like colorful, kooky characters filling up this story that's actually otherwise kind of grounded. And yeah, they're all flash and no substance. It's a little bit too anime for my Lupin, which is saying a bit.
I don't know. I just found there to be too many moving pieces to keep track of. I think you could tell the same basic story better by streamlining some of the nitty-gritty plot, eliminating some characters, eliminating some factions. I don't think it needs to be this complicated to do what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, I agree. Although I don't, okay, it is a little more convoluted in terms of the story than the first part was. But I don't know. It doesn't have more characters. It just has a lot of things going on and a lot of different motives. And that's what's kind of like, oh, hey, yeah, did we need this whole story about a conservative candidate wanting to use this as a way of basically getting into power and immigration reform? And I'm like, that's whoa, okay, first of all, getting really contemporary with your European politics right here. But secondarily, yeah, that adds another complication to things that I kind of felt like whoever was telling the plot was like, yeah, we need like at least another episode's worth of material here to fill out the story arc. But that being said, there's still a lot of really cool things happening. The animation is great in these episodes. The atmosphere is fantastic. Albert is a great villain.
Yeah, I really like him. He's the highlight of this, which I think I jive with Ben when I'm like, everyone else feels like fat, whether they're like just surrounding his really cool story.
That being said, it does allow us for this great moment of Albert and Lupin teaming up to interrogate this dude. And I'm like,
yeah, that was cool.
That's neat. I'm like, oh, cool. Lupin with an old partner being partners again. That's kind of awesome. So,
yeah. I did enjoy the flashbacks of the two of them together. It's neat seeing a younger, brasher Lupin who doesn't always have the master plan.
They like to talk about that all the time. Like, it's one of those interesting things where I don't know if we've ever gotten a movie about Lupin's youth, but they like to talk about, like, I remember back in my younger days and when I started out doing this. And I'm like, cool, we get to see that.
Yeah, I feel like it's been alluded to for a long time. It was fun to actually see it.
Are you telling me we haven't gotten a Baby Lupin's series yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah, what was it, 3 weeks ago that we brought it up? Get on it, TMS.
Actually, Castle of Cagliostro ended up doing like a big old flashback to it. Like, in fact, that was one of the driving parts of the plot was that in his younger days, he originally tried to pull a stunt with the Castle of Cagliostro, and it failed. And this, he's returned, and it's, yeah. Sorry,
No, that's fine. It's been a long time since I saw that movie, and that was one where the plot just kind of washed over me while I was drank in the Miyazaki-ness of the whole thing.
Yeah, I was definitely too young to know what was going on.
Yeah, a little bit.
When I saw it.
Also, it's got fucking, what's his face? David Hayter as Lupin, so that's cool.
Hell yeah.
I remember Lupin and Pops in like this sewer with skeletons and a big silly third act with a bunch of clockwork nonsense. And a sword fight? Was there a sword fight? Did I dream that?
Was there a sword fight? I kind of feel like
there was.
That movie actually helped to.
There's a sword fight in the clock tower.
Yeah,
Okay,
the clock
yeah.
tower. Yeah.
Yeah, and also that scene helped to inspire one of the coolest scenes from The Mouse Detective.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Actually, I think one of the same animation studios might help work on that. So, but yeah, no, like, I can understand how this plot might be a little bit convoluted. I was able to piece it together well enough. But yeah, there is fat, and the fat is that whole assassin group.
Yeah.
Like they are.
I mean, there's that. There's the fact that, like, who's this inspector with a photographic memory now, and why do I give a shit?
Oh yeah, they kind of. Wait, does he die?
Yep.
Yeah, he dies.
He just showed up and died.
Yeah, and the only reason that I can say definitively that he died is because it says here in my notes that he died, but he made so little impression that I couldn't have told you if I hadn't written it down.
Oh yeah.
He was like I guess he served as just a lead. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he was a partner of what's the old man's name?
Gaston.
Yeah, Gaston. Yeah, he was Gaston's partner.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's why he's here. He shows up. He dies. That I don't think was fat. I think that was okay. That was a necessary part of the story of why this is happening.
But I think his point is that it's the fact that he was like, why was this? Because it does this, and then a billion other things. And it's asking you to keep track of a lot of different threads at the same time.
Yeah, like he made a copy of it with his photographic memory, and then the master forger made the copy. Like, okay. Why can't it just be the original, though? That would be simpler and easier to keep track of.
I don't get us hung up on like the cinema sins, logical consistency shit. I can like jive with a lot of that, but I do think there was a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, and I don't know that any of it's inconsistent. Like, I don't think it constitutes a plot hole. I'm sure it all makes sense if you sit down and think about all the moving parts. I just don't think it needs to be as convoluted as it is.
Well, here's hoping moving on it's not as convoluted, but until then, I mean, I still really jive on all this. It's just, yeah, it might need to stop throwing a billion things at the wall.
Kieran?
I just want to, as a caveat, I wish I wasn't watching this week to week. I would love to binge this. With the way the show is structured, I feel like they consistently rely on the cliffhanger, and then I have to go, oh yeah, and then that thing happened, and then that thing happened, and it makes the plot, I think, even more difficult to follow because they emphasize the entertainment peak, and then I'm like, and then we're gonna allude to all this like really big, gritty info that was in like some dialogue in the middle of the last episode. Oh yeah, that happened too. I still think it has a lot of flair. I think it has a lot of really, really good stuff going for it. Its attitude, its detective Euro noir stuff is really enticing, but I do think they could tighten a lot of it up, honestly.
Yeah. It kind of feels like, again, I feel like this is a movie that got turned.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is not a quality judgment because, like you say, it has a lot going for it. The music, the atmosphere, the animation, all that stuff. It's just that I already got my hit of that stuff with the last arc, and it turns out I don't need a whole lot of it. Like, cool, I got in, I got a little dose of Lupin, I'm ready to get out. Unless it, like that first arc also had the novelty of, let's see how Lupin deals with social media shit.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that.
No.
And it turns out I needed that little extra spice. And now that I don't have it,
No, I was on the edge for this one, but I'm curious to see where this goes because I think Owlbear is interesting enough.
Yeah.
And I agree, it probably would be a lot better sitting down and binging the whole
Yeah,
like,
I could watch the whole
arc.
5-episode arc on its own. I think would be a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I like watching it. I mean, I get an excuse to watch this week to week. So there's a part of me that really doesn't want to lose this show because, man, it's nice to be able to. I have to watch this, but that means that I also am bound to watch it because I like this show, and I'm really excited about the future of Lupin, the third part 5, because even if this one's not that good, the next one could be as good as the first one. Also, I really want to see if we get a Green Jacket episode.
Oh,
God
I know.
damn it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean-
I'm holding out for a lot of that too. And even if it even because we judge week to week on this thing, which honestly I think can be a little skewed in the majority of shows. I think just they're made to be consumed the whole way through. But I think that this one will definitely function better as like let it build up and then go back to it. So even if it gets off the show, I'm probably going to go back and watch it anyway.
Yeah, I think especially with this, our format is a little weird because if there was a mechanic within our rules that I could say, you know what, can I just bow out of this arc and then come back for the next one, see if it does anything better for
Yeah.
me? Like, that would probably actually be what I wanted to do. But
That might be something we can talk about later. I don't know.
maybe, I don't know. I think that this is sufficiently an exception that I don't know that it makes sense to, like, bend our whole thing around this one weird outlier, but I don't know. But speaking of hot garbage that I hate watching every week, oh no, never mind, that's already cut. Let's talk about really good shit that I look forward to every week. Let's talk about Hinamatsuri. In episode 8, Kei, the security chief from wherever the hell Anzu and Hina come from, tails Hina and determines that she's stable enough to be recalled home, wherever the hell that is. Hina and Nita have a touching goodbye, but oops, Hina can't go because Nita threw away her ball that teleports her places. When Hina returns to Nita's apartment, she finds him throwing a big silly free from Hina party and says, not cool. And then in episode 9, there's a bunch... Oh, hold on. There we go. In episode 9, Security Chief K calls in Mao, the redhead from the first episode, to help bring Hina home, but somebody screws something up and Mao is teleported to a deserted island. Survivor happens. Then Nita gets involved in a wacky power struggle to see who will be his Yakuza boss successor. Then Hina tries to plan a party to congratulate Nita on being promoted, but screws up and makes it look like a funeral. Hooky hojinks ensue.
Did you know that Japan really liked Castaway?
I couldn't tell.
Or yeah, Castaway. That's what I was.
Yeah.
That's what I
you
meant to
you
say.
said
Not
Survivor, but
yeah.
I was assuming you
Castaway.
meant, yeah.
Yeah, because this was just a very direct reference.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I think episode 9 I liked, if only by virtue of being a combo platter, of which I liked just about every ingredient. I think 9 might have been stronger, but
Which one was first?
that was all
Kay saying you got to come back.
Yeah,
Was that 8 or 9?
that was
was
8.
eight.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so
Like I like the payoff for that at the end of, oh, oops, we fucked up.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting to determine that, you're here? Oh yeah, you're considered dead. You never came back, so we assumed you died on assignment.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
yeah, that's such a Anzu's like, what the fuck? What? It's such a good response. Anzu, it's sort of interesting because Anzu is way better off now than she probably was back home, but it was a rough start.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Kay is interesting, and apparently Hina is is a problem.
Yeah, I've noticed some people in the comments in the Discord complaining about how they introduced the whole psychic girls, super soldiers maybe. They've got to use their powers or they build up and spill out uncontrollably and then never really paid that off. I've also heard that some of the stories that deal with that did not get adapted because they deal more heavily with the Yakuza, and a lot of it wouldn't necessarily meet standards and practices.
Oh, shit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Supposedly some of that's dealt with a little more in the manga. That said,
Well, shit.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
This-
regardless.
This has been entertaining consistently. I love the slice of life stuff. I am fine with them getting back into more of this sci-fi stuff.
I'm sad that we're missing content though.
Yeah.
Like, let me state that clearly. I now may have to read the manga, which is sad because all the parts about this anime that make the anime work.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah, like the voice acting, the music, like the light uses of music, the color, everything about it just lines up to make this shit work. So I'm sad that I'm gonna have to go read the manga, but at least I get more Hinamatsuri. So hey.
Yeah. No, this show continued. Like, as soon as episode 9 started, I'm like, fine, we're in Castaway the whole 20 minutes. Go.
Yep.
Like, I was ready for whatever. But then it was just, no, we're going to do this. Then we're going to do this. And all of them are just amazing.
Were you gonna say something, Tyler?
Oh, I just like the idea that every season we're going to get like a show that someone's going to buy the entire manga series of. Because that's what Ben did with
Yeah, with
Inuyashiki.
Inuyashiki. And then maybe...
I might do that. I might do that with Hinamatsuri.
And then next season, something about Hamtaro with Kieran.
Dude, hell yeah. Give me a Hamtaro reboot.
Gritty Hamtaro reboot.
yeah, nobody read any manga from last season. We made vague noises about maybe we'll see what Ancient Magus Bride does.
No, I only didn't look to read Killing Bites because I want to see if a season 2 will happen.
Yeah,
it
no,
probably
that's fair.
won't, but that is the ideal way for me to experience it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I read a little bit forward. I had to. I was like, what happens next? And it's
I'm sure.
it's
well,
wow.
Killing Bites also doesn't have, to my knowledge, an official English adaptation of
Yeah.
the release of the manga, so I'll wait on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
whichever comes first, a second season or the manga getting a good release, I'll be right there day one.
I want that manga to get a good release. Anyway,
I know.
Hinamatsuri.
Yep. Still real good.
Yeah, by the way, can I just say that I love how this show animates Hina when she's going through anxiety?
Yeah.
Like, and not so her body language where she keeps shifting in a seat because she's so uncomfortable but doesn't know how to express it is so good. But even better is when she doesn't know how to tell Nita, hey, I have to leave. So she keeps curling up into a ball
Just
or spinning in
around,
air
yeah.
and then vomiting immediately after. That shit was so goddamn funny.
I love Hina so much, and her delivery carries so much of it. Like, that's why I want to see the anime version because of the way everything she just says like this.
Yep.
So good.
And the subtle differences between that's just how she talks and when she's like, when they were doing the whole thing with Nita's family and she would say something by rote, like
Yep.
she somehow gets even more robotic.
Yeah. This show's so fucking good. I don't know what else to say.
Puts a fucking dog down there. Is like,
I know,
bet she's
yeah.
gonna walk past
Walk
that
past the
dog.
dog.
Go
Yep.
grabs an umbrella, puts it down. What? And then it's Hitomi's umbrella.
Yeah, it's her umbrella, and then she's like, what are we going to do with the dog now? Just like the next shot is just the dog in the apartment or wherever she's staying.
I love it. It's
so good.
Oh my god.
Like,
And
I'll be back in a bit. I got to get rid of the dog.
I will say this. The one thing I didn't like was May's segment.
What with her figuring out that Hina had psychic powers?
I didn't find that as funny.
You're wrong. That was hysterical.
Look,
I loved that. Because then she's like, oh no, the organization's going to find him and they're never heard from again. She's like, oh God.
See,
and her just fucking like, everyone, listen, time for superpowers. And then she just walks out and
shit.
she was never seen again.
I had forgotten about that whole segment because I didn't put it in since it was a standalone story.
Oh,
I didn't have room for it in the synopsis.
I
but yeah.
loved it. I
Yeah.
laughed so hard when she just walked out of the classroom saying nothing.
No, when she walks out, that's funny. But I just, honestly, I didn't jive with the story itself. I just didn't find it that funny.
Maybe as a dude big into like conspiracy shit, I'm like, I see a lot in this girl. Because yeah, totally. Teach me, I can do it. I know what I'm doing. I've read up on it.
I would agree that may have been the weakest portion of these 2 episodes. That said, I still enjoyed it front to back.
Yeah.
Like, that's
still a 9 out of 10.
exactly
Sorry.
instead of a 9.8.
That being said, I actually like the following segment even more.
Which one was right after that?
So when Nita has to play politician within the Yakuza, of like,
yeah,
wait.
yeah.
It's like, wait, hold on. It's like, he's talking to the lieutenant who's next in line, and he's like, whatever, sure, I'll back you. You know, I'll do that because I think you're the only person here who's qualified to actually take over. Even though Nita is actually probably smarter and like more level-headed than either him or other Yakuza dude who's a loose cannon, is like, I love the fact that Nita, gets on hands and knees like, hey, look, you have to do this. This is the only way things are going to stay apart, and I'm doing this for us. And the guy's like, yeah, you know what? You've grown up a bit. That's the most Yakuza thing I think I've ever heard you say.
I love that Nita is like true blue. He is a loyal soldier. He cares about this organization and the people in it.
And so when the grandpa gets like carried away and says, yeah, we'll make Nita the new boss. And then the guy in the background takes it totally seriously and then contacts the other guy. I'm like, this.
And then won't just do the easy thing and say, I'm so sorry, I jumped the gun, everything's cool.
Yeah.
Because then it's on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like when they were like, do you have anything to say? He just was riddled with anxiety and throwing up every time. I'm like, okay, that's relatable.
I just love the glittery vomit every time.
And then when he's just in the barrel with up to his neck, and then they're like, congrats, Lieutenant.
Yeah, I love how one moment these guys can be full-on Yakuza, you're gonna sleep with the fishes, and then the next they can be just the friendliest, most huggable gangsters you ever saw.
And the best part about that whole scene is that any other anime, the moment that things got cleared up, they'd have cut. Mm-hmm. No, not
like, you gotta let it roll.
Hinamatsuri. Hinamatsuri sticks to the scene all the way up until where Nita's like, dude, get me the fuck out of here. And it's so good. It's the look on his face. Everybody like, yeah, it's great. Isn't it great, Nita? You're lieutenant now. And he's like...
And also the whole, and then after that, we get the party arranging with Hina, the celebration. And God, I love her talking to everybody, like, you should do this, do that, do that. Then she's like, oh God, what am I gonna do? And eventually the timing of her coming out and then going, boo.
Yes.
Slayed me.
Oh man. Yep, that was about my reaction. I hate that I have to say literally, but yes, literally laughed out loud in the room watching it.
And it's pretty rare for me to laugh out loud at a lot of things, but just this consistently gets it out of me. It's so good.
I don't know. At this point, we're just listing good
of course.
scenes, but yeah, just if you're not watching it, go. It's out there. It's right now. Make the watch happen.
She was there for 3 months, by the way. Pink hair girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's there for 3 months.
So the question that my girlfriend brought up is, what was Kay doing that whole time? Did she go back empty-handed? Is she still hanging around somewhere? What's her deal?
Probably get back to it, I assume.
Well, Kay said that remember there's that scene with Kay in her apartment. She's like, damn it, I'm going to have to order a new ball.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The Mao was supposed to be the new ball.
Oh, right.
No,
Also,
I thought because
No, she says-
because they all came together. They were supposed to all three show up at the same time. So now Mao is going to show up in the time that has passed. She was here when Hina showed up.
Oh, so was this like 3 months prior?
Yeah,
And now she's
like
on her way.
Hina and Anzu have been there for about 3 months or so, but Mao did not end up in Japan, and now time has progressed for both of them equally, and now she's going to show up.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
That's at least what I gathered.
Well, because the other thing to keep in mind is that the first scene of the first episode was Mao like in some temple somewhere kicking a bunch of ass.
Kicking ass.
Yeah.
And then it says 3 years later. So 3 years passes for her before she meets up with anybody else.
Well, it's 3 years, and that's a flash forward. That's only to assume if that's the first time she's meeting them, which I don't think it is.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that she'll already have met them and been established by them.
Or 3 years the Anzu and Hina spend at least 3 years before anything else can happen.
Yeah.
Yes, they have, because 3 years has to happen to get that like flash forward, but that doesn't mean Mao can't be introduced now.
Yeah. I do think Mao could meet Hina before that.
I see, and I have the opposite. This is the opposite of my criticism of Lupin, where I'm like, there's too many moving pieces. I can't keep track of this. Here, I can't keep track of any of that shit that we just said, but I don't care because it is so fucking entertaining moment to moment.
Yes.
Like, there might actually be some timeline fuckeries. It might actually not make sense. I don't give shit one. I love
I
this
don't
shit.
Oh, I bet it will, though.
Yeah. Maybe, probably. We'll find out sometime. But right now, let's find out if Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the new theses, only one episode of this.
Yeah, 'cause the other one was a commercial.
Yeah, episode 9 got
Commercial for the
delayed.
Iserloan.
Yeah, I tried to figure out what went on, what happened. Supposedly, Kierheis's voice actor is in the hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, but I don't know. That's not on like good authority. That's just some shit that I found on some forum post somewhere. Turns out there's a big ocean and a big language and cultural barrier between between news happening in Japan and us getting a clear picture of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
Here's hoping he's okay.
yeah, here's hoping I hope everybody's okay. I hope it's good. I hope.
Yeah.
But right now we've got episode 8 to talk about, in which Kierheis puts down a minor rebellion. Oberstein, or Stein, Robot Eyes, visits Reinhard and conspires with him to overthrow the Kaiser. The 3 chiefs of staff get thrown under the bus for the loss of the Death Star, and Reinhard gets offered his choice of their positions, but he argues they shouldn't be blamed and asks for Oberstein to be pardoned as his boon instead. The Kaiser reveals that he knows that Reinhard's probably going to overthrow him, but he seems pretty chill about it.
Which I really like.
Yeah.
I love we've had like 2 scenes of the Kaiser this episode. We haven't seen a whole lot of them. They're both just his butler showing up. I'm like, okay, I'm digging this guy. Just tending his flowers, being all what's his face from Hunger Games. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love that. He's like, if I get overthrown, then they better be pretty fucking good to do it. And I'm like, that's
That is one
awesome.
of my is one of my favorite archetypes. Is the emperor who's like, the man who can take me down is the man who deserves to take my place.
Yeah. Which I really like that. And I'm happy this is an Empire episode too. It was I think I really like seeing the Empire stuff.
Yeah, you like to see characters with actual character?
Yeah.
Speaking of characters with actual character, you know who else I liked?
Oberstein!
I mean, he's fine, whatever. I'm talking about Mr. Punching everybody.
Maximilian, who just like, sir, they're coming up, bam!
And his name's Maximilian. What a great villain name.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy thing. He's actually less over the top than the OVA version, because I had to look that fucker up.
Oh,
'cause
really?
I was like, he's not this crazy in the original OVA, is he? No! He's got everyone dressed in fucking togas! and you know how he gets taken down? Stabbed by everyone in the room.
Hey,
even the women.
For the Night's Watch.
Yeah, it's great because they're like he's whipping dudes. He's whipping dudes
That's
in the
great.
original one. And so finally, they stab him, stab, and the women that he had invited to the party, they even grab knives and stab him.
Oh, man.
And it's like crazy shit.
That's nuts.
That's interesting because I heard, and I don't know, I am not going to read any of them, but I heard that he was way more understated in the light novels that were the origin of the character.
Okay.
Huh.
And that made me sad because I'm like, no, this, like, people who were saying that in the context of, I hope that the guys don't think this is too over the top because it's,
Nope.
and I'm like, no, this is what I need more of.
Yeah.
Turn it up to 11. Make it real dumb.
Here's the thing. I don't think he's too over the top for my general taste. It was a little weird here.
Oh, it was totally jarring, but
Yeah.
in such a way as, no, I want everybody to be this dumb.
Yeah.
I kind of don't disagree because I really would see when I said characters with actual character in this episode we got more Kierheis and Kierheis and Reinhard, And I love their dynamic. I love
Yeah,
their
I think
character.
they're really good together.
Even though they're a little bit understated, they work and gel well together. Oberstein is currently my
I really like him too.
He's
new
fun.
favorite
He's
character. And so
You're
I
gonna
am,
shoot me, you little bitch. Do it.
I do like he's like, you know, it's like you've got a court martial to decide. Then he's like, fucking, you know, the court martial is nothing but a sham. It's theater. They're gonna execute me.
Yeah.
And that entire thing. I love that. That entire thing is just fucking Reinhard trying to be like, okay, what's gonna happen if I have my guy come in here and put you under arrest? How are you gonna respond? Are you gonna beg? Are you gonna plead? And he does, and he's like, yo, Kirais, calm
Yeah.
down. Let's talk. Like, let's actually talk. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so fucking good.
Yeah, well, because he had to do that. He has to know, is this somebody I can rely on? Is
Yeah.
he going to crack under the pressure?
I also like what Reinhardt says too. Is he's like, I know he's just using me because he also wants it too. But hey, if I can't control one person, how am I gonna get the galaxy? I'm like, hell yeah, dude. That's good.
I do like this light Yagami motherfucker. Up
Oh,
at the
I
front.
know, yeah.
Also, interesting how he treats Kirais. You know, when he goes
Oh,
over
yeah,
and starts brushing
right?
his hair, like, hey, look presentable, kid.
Yeah.
And it's also a little like there was also a little bit like a little hoagie, just a little
Just
bit,
a
little
tiny
bit
bit, tiny bit.
But I was like,
I mean, if you mean all the homo, then yes.
yeah, it's a little gay, but at the same time, it also talks.
That's not a criticism.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of an interesting idea of how Reinhard treats Kirais. He trusts him, but he also kind of treats him like he's his to groom.
Yeah.
and it's very
okay.
it's very interesting and very diminutive.
I'm kind of getting like Frodo Sam vibes sometimes between them.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously care a lot about each other
Yeah.
as friends, but you can also feel like since the very beginning of the relationship, Reinhard has been, you are mine now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for somebody whose whole deal is I'm going to overthrow this corrupt system, he also can't escape from it.
That's
I am
true.
of a higher class than you, therefore you will serve me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also very much but wherever I go, you go.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that you're from a lower class. Now that you're with me, none of that matters. You're like when I'm banging a chick, you're in the same room making sure that nobody does anything. Okay.
You're in the same room filming.
Yeah. So
I mean, that is the a friend of mine who is into some DS stuff. By the way, that's not a euphemism. This actually is a literal friend of mine. He says that something that a girlfriend of his, the way that she put it is, yeah, why would I not want to be under you? However high you go, I'm going to be right underneath you.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And that's what she gets out of it. She
Yeah.
wants, because his success is her success.
Yeah. No, I like how much happened this episode too. Like
Yeah,
I think
felt like I
feel
watched 2 episodes.
Oh, I know. Like when I looked at the time, I'm like, oh shit, there's still like 5 more minutes. Like this felt like it had a lot of shit going on, which is good. And I think that they have a lot of characters. They're still doing the thing where you see the characters' names, but I'm not getting hung up on that because I feel like anybody we need to know about has been introduced thoroughly.
Yeah, like Oberstein at first, the only thing I had to hang on him was Robot Eyes.
Yeah.
But they have done enough to establish him as a character now that it's like, oh yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we're seeing other people, like these other people that were at Iserlon and these other dudes that are like, they know what Reinhardt's like. They seem to kind of know what he's up to a bit. And they're just, so I don't know. I assume we'll get more of them later.
Yeah, but that was also, are you talking about the chiefs of staff?
yeah.
Yeah. Because, yeah, they do see what he's doing, but they also see like, oh, but he's not going to throw us under the bus. He's going to, he's not, out to get us. He's going to take care of us. We might be pretty okay under the New World Order.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's what you do. And it's very interesting to see Reinhardt's approach to a nice tyranny, a sweet, friendly tyranny. And
Which I like. I don't know. I really like seeing him slowly build his Light Yagami empire, and we see the Kaiser now. Like, I'm so curious to see them in a room together. Like, I really want to see them just talking for a bit now.
Yeah. Well, I do want to see them talking for a bit. I hope we get more dudes punching dudes. I hope we get more intrigue.
Yeah.
This show's been kind of... It has on occasion been a little dry. This has probably been the least dry and the most interesting and potentially the best it's been. I like this episode.
Yeah, I can agree. I feel like more episodes like this would do this show some favor.
Yeah.
I personally within this universe found him to be a little too over the top, just a little bit, but that's only because he's the first guy who just comes out swinging and doing some crazy shit, and you know what? I can get that.
Everybody else is at a 4 and he's at an 11.
Yeah,
it is a little jarring. You're not wrong.
Yeah. No, I think I can jive with this show's speed, the slower space opera stuff. I really do dig. I really do kind of like all the politics for this. It's a nice show that I can take at its pace it's going. But this was a welcome change for me. I really hope it does keep this kind of momentum.
Yeah. And it does make me, just knowing that this is only 12 episodes and then it's going to go into movies and who the hell knows where it's going from here, it does make me think, once we've gotten to the end of this, I might see where my pivot point into the old series is. Cause
The old series is 100 and something fucking episodes.
Yeah,
exactly. I will never run out of more of it to watch.
Yeah.
All right, but we've run out until episode 9 comes out. So in the meantime, let's talk about Golden Kamuy. In episode 7, Bear Hunter and Sideburns take a Serpa hostage. Retar rescues a Serpa, and she takes her enemies back to the Ainu village to be healed. They reveal some of Lieutenant Crazyface's backstory and motivation. Later, the Escape King runs into Hammerhead in town and tries to play the 7th Division against him. That's the very broadest outline I could do. And then in episode 8, the Shinsen Gumi Bears use the distraction of their conflict with Lieutenant Crazyface's group to steal a katana from a bank. Sugimoto's group go whaling, but stop to rescue a fisherman who's totally not a tattooed criminal and serial killer. This perfectly ordinary non-serial killer fisherman has a rare condition where his boner glows golden when he thinks about murder, which will presumably come in handy the next time Santa has to navigate through fog.
Did we? I feel like, did we skip over Ritar and?
He got it.
Yeah,
he got
Richard
himself
has a wife and some pups,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yep.
He got busy.
Yep. And Aserpa's like, okay, he got to go do his thing. They're the future of their species, so no more hanging around saving my ass, because if I die, I got a whole village back there. If you die, that is it for wolves in Hokkaido.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not so much. I mean, now that there's puppies, like
But who's going to protect them all?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the mom did a pretty good
Mom was
fucking
pretty
job.
good, though.
Mauled the fuck out of the bear, dude. Also, nice to see that's the way he goes down.
That was great. He was really good.
I fucking
liked
love
his
that
dude. His whole thing, this whole like two and a half episodes he was there. I was a little iffy when he first showed up, but no, this was good.
I'm gonna miss Bear Grylls. Gonna miss him real bad. But in his stead, we've got Suicide Boner dude, Suicide Murder Boner dude,
yeah.
and he's
Again,
great.
This show is just JoJo One Piece Kenshin directed by Tarantino, and it's great. I love him. Everyone's insane.
Yeah, he's nuts, and the fact that when he cuts that,
When he cuts it, oh yeah.
and then he pictures his own head. I'm like, ooh, nice use of imagery.
Yeah.
Also creepy.
So yeah, by the way, his whole deal is, Sugimoto's a murderer like me. I'm gonna try to kill him because then he'll try to kill me, and that's the only like worthy death is being murdered by another murderer. And I need new pants.
Yeah, that's some classic psycho like serial killer bullshit, and I love it, especially considering that it's his backstory that he watched his brother get eaten by a boar.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, oh wow, like whoever this writer was, like, what would cause a person to be this insane? Oh,
Yeah, that'd fuck you up.
yeah, that'd do it.
Speaking of backstories, I like getting Crazy Face's backstory, and I like now knowing that they are essentially ousted with no pay from the military. I'm like, okay, that's why they're sticking with him because they got fucking nothing,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
which was cool.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense because they have got a legitimate grievance, and he is kind of. I mean, he believes in their cause, but he is also harnessing that to secure their loyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that works for me. I feel like a lot happened in these 2 episodes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They were
Yes.
jam-packed.
There's a lot of stuff.
Shinsengumi dude ends up like robbing a bank to get his old sword back.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see whenever he busts that out.
I love. It's like, what else do you store here besides, besides money? Oh well, we have a lot of things: artifacts, swords. Wait a second, shit, fuck, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, he even stole the horse I came here on. God damn it.
But I got his hat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I got it. But joke's on him.
And God, I love Shiraishi, our escape king.
Yep.
This whole like 2 episodes, so good.
Yeah, I didn't touch on that much, but he gets captured by
yeah.
Is it the Shinsengumers?
The
Yeah,
Shinsengumi
the
guys, yeah.
Shinsengumis.
Yeah, and it's kind of an open question. Like he's kind of like thrown his lot in with them. It's not entirely clear. Like, is he just doing that so they won't kill him, or is he playing both sides? Is he kind of side with the winner here?
Well,
Is
one
he
of the
just biding his time?
One of the interesting things that he does is he lies.
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
lied like, oh yeah, no, they don't have anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, okay. That tells me that you're not 100% on these guys' side. Now, whether or not he's going to use them in the future is a question because he's still the escape king. Like he doesn't seem like he's going to be the guy who's going to throw his lot in with anybody for life. So
Yeah, I mean, if I had to hazard a guess, I would say Plan A is Sugi's group wins, but if that gets fucked up, I do not think he would hesitate to save his own skin, and I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah. I predict he'll have a turnaround though. I'm getting a big Usopp vibe from this guy.
Yeah,
I
like-
think something big will happen and he'll swear his loyalty at some point.
he at this point he's got another group too much. I would be surprised if he went full like traitor on them.
Yeah. But regardless of what happens with him, I'm in. Like, this show knows how to do these character dynamics really well. I think it's juggling its insane cast pretty effectively. I think there were some more boring moments early on when they were going to the villains, but now that we've had enough, like, side build-up with everyone coming together, I really liked it.
I will say at least the second episode had some of the more ugly bits. Like the production value of the show has always been up and down. This is one of the looking episodes.
Thankfully, the episode with the bear dude looked awesome.
Yes, yeah, that was done very effectively. What happened to the other dude?
The Sideburns dude
Yeah,
who was
what-
hanging out with, he is also in the Ainu village.
Yeah, he got taken back to the village.
Right, yeah. And now the dog is hanging out with Shiraishi.
Yeah, which
is
I like. I like, okay, if they need like a retar supplant thing, cool. That's
yeah.
fun.
I like that the dog is like, well, they ain't gonna kill me, so I'm just gonna hang out with these guys now, I guess. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of cool on episode 7, to be honest. Like, it was fine. It didn't really hook me, but episode 8 was pretty great. Like, I love the whaling scene.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's those little touches of like, hey, let's learn about this setting. What does it take for dudes in wooden ships with harpoons to take down a fucking whale? Like, yeah, let's get into that shit. That's the sort of thing that will keep me hooked even when a lot of the time it has a few too many moving parts. I'm not necessarily clear on or give a shit about all of the characters all of the time. I mean, there are definitely characters that I do like, mostly Sugimoto and Asurpa, and the occasional one-off like Mr. Murder Boner.
Yeah. But I think for me this is the level of crazy that I love. I'm just always intrigued with what's going to happen because it could be anything and I would believe it. And I think that makes for a really exciting watch, at least week to week. I'm always curious to see what happens next.
Yeah, and this is, we've talked a couple of times this week about I wish I were marathoning this. I wish it wasn't week to week. I'm enjoying this one week to week. I think week to week is about the right speed.
Yeah, I like it that way.
Yeah. But I liked this last week especially. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next week.
yep, ditto. More Golden Kamuy.
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good, and that's a trifecta for Golden Kamuy.
Is that our first? No, Hinamatsuri was our first trifecta of the week.
The last 4 have been pretty solid, like Hinamatsuri, Galactic Heroes, Golden Kamuy, Megalobox,
yeah.
like our whole run.
Yeah. And speaking of Megalobox, that is our last thing to discuss this fine day. We've got episode 8, in which Pops discovers that Mikio has no hard evidence against Joe. His blackmail was at least partially a bluff. He also learns that Mikio's AI-enhanced gear relies on reading electrical signals from the opponent's gear and is weak against a gearless fighter like Joe. Joe busts into the ceremony, awarding Mikio the final spot in Megalonia and challenges him to a rematch. And then in episode 9, Mikio kicks Joe's ass for 3 rounds. Oh, by the way, that whole he's weak against gearless, yeah, apparently he fixed that problem between episodes. But Joe tricks the AI into believing that Joe won't counter when his guard is down, then throws a miracle counterpunch and one-hit KOs Mikio. Joe is declared the final entrant into Megalonia. All the slum dwellers throw a big ol' party, but a secret meeting between Pops and Fujimaki hints that all is not going as well as it seems. I don't even know what to say. This show's pretty. This show's got some good music. Mm-hmm. This had some of the... There were some moments that stretched credulity a little more than usual in this pair of episodes.
I will say the first episode is better. Because I like the fact that Nanbu goes to... what's her face?
The manager lady.
Yeah, manager lady.
She's got a first name. Her last name's Shirato, like the company.
Yeah.
Yukio?
Yukio Shirato?
Her brother's Mikio. I think it does... Might be Yukako. It starts with a Y.
Yukiko.
Yukiko.
Oh,
That's what it is. Sounds right.
Yeah, it goes to Yukiko Shirato, and goes to her, has the whole conversation, really starts to get to her. Like, she starts to believe and understand him, but she sides with her own personal belief of like, no, I'm not going to, like, you didn't fight him. You don't get the second chance. I'm making this decision, and locks him in. That was a great scene.
Yeah,
I
that
loved
was
that.
good.
I like that that's how she handles it. Is like, oh yeah, Nabu, you didn't think that one through, did ya? And then furthermore, like when Nanbu goes to, what's his face?
Fujimaki, the gangster guy?
Yeah, Fujimaki. He's like, you got played. He didn't know. He bluffed you and you fell. And he's like,
yeah, they gotta have it. They gotta physically have it and test it to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, oh shit, yeah, that makes sense. I was like, how did he get that information?
Yeah.
What, like, and as it turns out, no concrete proof. This was Mikio desperate. And I'm like, that's a pretty good move.
Yeah, I believed from the start that this is, like, them getting exposed with the fake ID is probably not as big a threat as they think it is. Mm-hmm. Because the whole reason why they have a chance at all is because the public's behind them. The public doesn't give a shit that it's a fake ID. That just makes it even doper in their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. And then at the very end, right up to the wire, Joe just shows up and is like, fucking fight me, dude.
That scene at the end is so good.
Yeah, no,
I loved that with the announcement and the music and everything. All that worked so well together.
Yeah, I was really happy that it came down to him like showing up, and then Yukiko at the last minute is like, huh, he actually came all the way here to fight him. He was never afraid to fight him. I made a mistake. And it's like, it's a great scene because he breaks it in half. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, fuckers, do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a cool scene. It was also a little... I mean, this show is itself. It is the genre that it is.
Totally.
And this is one of those things that is a part of that genre for better or for worse, but is a little silly.
A little bit. A little silly.
Yeah, and it's great.
Well, here's the thing. So the silliness worked for me to a certain extent. I did find it like incredible. Like, wow, you really just drove the fuck on in there
On your motorcycle.
on your motorcycle
Hell
and made
yeah,
this
you
happen.
did.
But you know what? That is 90s anime as fuck, and I was all about it. I was like, yes, you know what? Go up there and show your manly spirit and have her like reconsider. And you know, that carries into the next episode. I like Yukiko's arc here. I like the character of Yukiko. I also like the character of Nanbu. I also like the character of Yuri. You know whose character I don't like?
Little kid.
No. Joe. I don't like Joe. I think Joe is a vehicle for fights and for other characters to grow and change. But I think Joe himself barely has a personality beyond, no, I've got to win and I can do this. Okay, what is your driving force? What's your personality? What do you like? What do you dislike? I don't know.
Well, he wants to be the very best.
Like no one ever was.
To punch Yuri is his real test. To beat him is his cause.
I just think that Joe's a really good Kenpachi, if you know what I mean.
From Bleach?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective.
No, I see it.
It's just that.
Yeah, he's swordless, gearless.
Yeah. But that's my biggest problem is that I don't know anything about Joe. I don't know all I know is that Joe wants to win, and that's not great. There's no development with him. There's no learning what makes him tick. Like his response to Aragaki is stone cold. His response to all of this is just the same expression all of the time. He's a non-character, and that finally hit me in these last couple of episodes because I was so happy to see Nanbu get his development. I like the fucking orphan character. I think he's fun, and I think he has things to contribute. He thinks outside of Nanbu's box, and that's important. And I think Yukiko and Yuri are such fascinating characters with great dynamics with the people that they know. Like Yuri in these episodes is fantastic.
Calling it right now, by the way. Final round of the final fight between Joe and Yuri. Yuri takes off his gear and fights him gearless.
Oh, yeah. Like, I absolutely want him to take off that bullshit and be like, no, we're doing this for real, though. Like, I'm not some domesticated dog for her to push around and her to use her technology on me. I'm a fucking boxer, and we're going to fucking do this. And that would be great. But you know what? What does that do? Like, that doesn't fix my problem with Joe.
No.
Yeah. And, yeah, Joe is my biggest problem here. Because I realized that some of these fights, besides, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it again, the fights are not incredibly well animated. They're not poor. They don't look bad, but they're visually, very limited, and they don't do a lot with motion or speed. The concepts behind them are good, like the big shots, the big hits. They're all calculated and have something to do with the storytelling of the fight, which is important. That's the most important part about these fights. Otherwise, a fight without storytelling and structure, that's dumb bullshit, and you get that in anime all the time. But I would be more invested if I cared about Joe. And God help me, don't. I only care about him because I want Nanbu to be okay, and that's not that's not a good reason to be cheering for Joe. Like I cared about him more when he was the underdog who was like throwing fights, but he was really good. And I was like, oh cool, so he's actually a really good fighter, and he's sick at throwing these fights. So he throws a punch. Okay, cool. Is there anything more? And for me, there just isn't.
It's that really good slow smile he does when he's getting into it.
Oh yeah.
Like maybe that's not a whole lot to hang a character on, but boy, if that doesn't do it for me every time it happens.
Oh, I know.
I mean, yeah.
I love it.
His character design is fantastic, and the way his actors selling, his gruffness and his grit. There's a lot of that there, but that's all there is. That's all there's been.
I think that's just another one of those. That's what this genre is.
Yeah, I feel like every hang up that people have about this is welcome to this show.
Yeah,
welcome to 90s anime. It has been and always has been like this.
Yeah, it's not that you're wrong, but there have been so many shows that have that exact same limitation without any of the strengths that this is bringing to the table.
I feel like it's just you're hampering it for not being a 10 when it's a solid 9.
Well, as I said, every other character in this is great for me. I'm actually digging everybody else. It's just Joe is at the core of this. It's inescapable that when he's in the ring, like...
I mean, what's Yuri that's different than any other arrogant villain in any anime who's so much better but learns to respect the plucky upstart?
From the very get-go, he's not a bad guy. And that's communicated by the way that he looks to Yukiko and looks at Mikio.
Yeah, and that's been done a million times too. He's the noble demon.
Yeah.
Like, that is a stock character, but it works for this story.
Yeah, because they're doing well. Like, they're giving him great lines. They're giving him these great moments to shine. Like, look, I'm not saying that stock is necessarily bad. My problem is that it's all I'm getting. With Yuri, we'll see development. But early on, we're already seeing these great moments where his
Will we?
I mean, I'm hoping.
I mean, I'm hoping we get more development
Yeah.
for Joe, too. I'm not expecting it for either one.
But-
they could continue to be the stock archetypes, and that's more than enough to carry me through these 13 episodes.
But for me, like, look, I'm not writing this show off just because of Joe. I'm stating my biggest problem with this show, and that's and you know that has come to a surface after how many episodes?
I mean, it is an area where it could be better than it is. But I don't
Yeah.
think it needs to be a great show.
No, I think everything it's doing is exactly what it needs to be the underdog story that it is. The person that went into robot boxing without robots. And that's what it is.
Yeah, like it's not even keeping it from being a 10 instead of a 9. It's an extra credit question that it's leaving blank.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it,
Man,
honestly.
I guess
Like, it could get to 105%, but if it doesn't, oh well.
this is an 8 for me. This is an 8 for me, and would have been pushed up to 9 with a better main character and a 10 with better actual animation. The art in this show is ridiculous. You know, you can keep shaking your head.
Because-
I will.
and we will.
Every time.
I'm sorry, the art in this show is impeccable. Like, the backgrounds are fantastic. The actual storyboarding is super good. All the characters look great all the time, except when the fighting happens and I'm getting... Instead of, you know, really quick shots and sweat flying and movement.
No, it is not Hajime no Ippo. This is something else.
Yeah. You know, you can say that it's not that, but if it's not entertaining me, then what do? What if I'm just not finding like the power and speed behind a boxing show that I'm looking for? Like, well, I would I see.
Then you make your point, and we say we disagree, and we move on because I'm not watching the same show you are apparently.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, at the end of the
Don't
day,
worry, it's how I feel about Wotakoi.
Well, no, we agree on Wotakoi. We just weight that aspect differently. I'm not sitting here telling you, no, you're wrong. It's hilarious.
But yeah, no. Anyway, point being, it's still an 8 out of 10 for me, and I'm still going to give it the eggplant because all the things that it does right are spectacular. Like, I like all the things that it does right. The music, the pace, like the music, the backgrounds, the characters. Oh my God, the characters. Like, I love like all of them. It's just not Joe, and sometimes the fighting's a little dull. Although we didn't talk, man, I talked so much about Joe. We should all talk about the other stuff that happened. Because,
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
So Fujimaki,
Yeah.
this was something that I did a total 180 on in the course of watching these 2 episodes. Because as of episode 8, I'm like, you know, he said, I'm going to give you this fake ID, but that's the last help you can expect from me. But then when it came down to it, like, yeah, I'll do some digging for you. I'll give you the inside dirt. Like, nah, he actually wants him to succeed. I don't think he has a whole lot to lose if they can't pay him back.
Yeah.
But then as of the end of the 2nd episode, I'm thinking, oh shit, some shady shit's going down. Wait a minute. He always said all you have to do is get into Megalonia, and I interpreted that as, oh, the prize money just from getting in will be enough to repay him. No, he wants them to get in and then throw the fight.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
shit.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't even put that together until you started talking about it, and then it's like, wait a second, what has he been doing this whole goddamn time with Joe?
Yep.
The entire idea was throw the fight, because you can definitely, like, you can't guarantee that a fighter's going to win, but you can totally guarantee a fighter's going to lose with the right persuasion.
Yep, and you
Yeah.
know all those people in the slums, all the people getting the tattoos, holding up the signs, they are all betting heavily on Joe, whether he is the statistical favorite in the betting pool or not.
Yeah.
So there would be a fuck ton of money riding on somebody who felt he could guarantee that Joe was going to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Mania is at a full-time high, and it's like, yep, like...
Yeah, the best time to cash in on all that hope and dreams.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids.
I wonder if Fujimaki knew this from the beginning, or if he was just like, yeah, you know what? I'll give him a hand. Let him get in there. That'll be great. What if they actually do it? I'll get my money, and then it'll be great. And if they don't, I fucking take his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like he always had the upper hand the whole time.
Yeah, it's like there's no real big loss for this guy that he wasn't going to have anyway after after Joe already like won that fight he was supposed to lose.
Yeah, like
So-
he probably lost some money on that, but it doesn't seem to be affecting his bottom line.
Yeah.
So it was always a safe bet for him to take this long shot bet.
I said it
and-
in the first episode, and I'll say it again here. Red line.
Oh yeah.
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 Yep.
But yeah, it's really cool to see, and I'm very excited to see where that goes.
Yeah. No, and then like you're totally right. The parallels to Redline are honestly huge when it like throughout this whole show, and I love that. Like this is and like Redline doesn't have a very developed main character. Who fucking cares? The guy likes to race and has a pompadour. Like that's all, and that's what I want to see. You know what you're gonna get. I'd be amazed if he actually throws the fight and we get something else. Like that'd be cool. But you know what's gonna happen. You know he's gonna fight. Fuck you, I'm gonna win, and he's gonna beat Yuri, and everyone's gonna have fun.
Yep.
Like, but that's fine. Like that's great. Like it's just fun. It's really entertaining. It's 90s shit. It's cheese.
Yep. So for the record,
Yeah.
trifecta, obviously.
We didn't talk about Mikio and his fucking. See,
Very
like,
punchable face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Spectacularly fungible faces.
You know what I liked about Mikio was that last shot of him driving away in his fucking sports car. Like, well, I'm still rich as fuck.
Yep.
And so the loser gets nothing.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure,
wow.
sure he does.
Yeah,
You
sure.
fucking 1%er. Shut
Yeah.
the fuck up.
By the way, there's God. You know, the fucking scene with him and Yuri is so good. When Yuri turns around, and throws that punch,
Oh,
and
yeah,
fucking
just
Nikio
right in front of
races
him.
up,
Yeah.
and then Yuri is like, "So, was that you? Was that Ace?" And that's so fucking good.
Yeah.
I do like his whole point, which is that it's all me because Ace is me because I made Ace.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
You're fine.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
this-
I think he was more interesting than I expected, honestly. I liked seeing him develop it, seeing him train, like, push the synchronization to max. I can do it.
Apparently, I'm taking weird future drugs. I don't know. We're not
Yeah,
actually going to
exactly.
deal with
I'm taking
that.
some nano machines or whatever.
Also, kind of curiously, yeah, you're right. So, yeah, as it turns out, he didn't want to fight you because the gear he was using detects the movements of other gear. And then in the next episode, yeah, no, I got one that detects human beings too. Bye. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's
Well, it seemed they allude that it detected regular punches because he was punching it with just his bare fists at that one scene. So it was detecting the fists, like moving, like some Connect ass shit is what I was getting.
Yeah.
And so when he did nothing, it was like,
Well, yeah, but remember, they were originally talking about the original version that he was using detected the electrical signals in the gear. And then he
no,
switches,
yeah, and then next episode he has a new one, of course.
Yeah,
But
because
I didn't think, but I think they was sufficiently shown in the flashback that he was testing against Joe specifically.
Yeah. But yeah, guess what? Turns out that watching Joe curb stomp him would not have been an interesting episode, so he pulled something new out of his ass.
Yeah. Well,
Oh well.
And that's fine. That's actually not a complaint. It was just crazy out of nowhere. Like, by the way, not only does he have one that can fight Joe, we're gonna start this episode mid their fight just to throw your ass off.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect
I
that.
like that actually.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That like I like when shows play with their narrative structure because what you do is you get people used to a certain thing, and then out of nowhere. Then you're like, okay, we don't even have to show the opening fight. We can show mid-conflict of what actually just happened and let everyone fill it in. And
Yeah.
that's clever.
Yeah,
That's
that's
clever.
really
That's
good.
cool. That's a great use of your time, your energy, storytelling. Way to go. Like I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, the one nitpick I had that I feel like they could have addressed and didn't is so Joe literally one-hit KOs this guy. He lands exactly one punch and it is a knockout. If there had been anything to set that up, anything like, oh, he spent so much time on this gear, he's neglected his skills as a boxer, he's got a glass jaw, anything, but no. So, yeah, that kind of bothered me a little. Again, not so much that I'm not, I gave it the eggplant, but that was, there's being the genre that it is, and then there's stretching credulity a little bit.
Yeah, the whole because he keeps getting these hard hits on him, but then he just gets up and then one-shot KOs, and he's not like I'm gonna be honest with you. He's hot and he's muscular, but he's also like less muscular than most of the guys he's fighting.
Yeah.
How is he one-shot KOing these guys? like
well,
consistently.
Well, I
and
got
in
the impression that Mikio isn't a boxer. He's an engineer. He's not made to fight. He can't take a punch. That's why he built the robot to block for him.
Well, and if they had established that more strongly, like,
Yeah.
because you do see him training, and by the way, he is ripped.
Yeah.
So they could have made that case, but they sort of didn't, and it's left to the audience to fill in that hole.
I guess, but there's only so much muscle you can build around your face.
Yeah, no. Taking a hit is never going to be something that you can get better at over time without serious health risks. You kind of work yourself up the best that you can, but it's sooner or later a good shot to the jaw is gonna.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Joe was taking huge shots left, right, and center for 3 rounds, and was
Because he did that for a living. He wasn't all bougie, living on wine and cheese all the time.
Was gonna have fucking punch drunk.
well, guys. Let's go get punch drunk on wine and cheese. But before we do, oh shit, double kill this week.
Oh man.
Yep.
Yep, Wotakoi and Tiramisu.
Perhaps today is a good day to die. Prepare for running speed!
Both dead.
So
Gone.
what does that leave us with? I feel like that's just all good stuff.
Kinda. We got Lupin, we've got Golden Kamuy, we've got Hinamatsuri, we've got Legend of the Galactic Heroes, we got Megalobox.
All pretty good.
Yeah. Do we have anything else?
I think that's it.
Let's see. Wotakoi's gone. Tiramisu's gone. Hold on. We got, Lupin, Hinamatsuri, Galactic Heroes, Golden Kamuy, and Megalobox.
Yep.
So,
And I honestly do not see any of those 5 dying before the end of the season. I'm going to put it out there right now.
Unless something crazy happens for any of them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Unless Lupin really fucking drops the ball. I think that was the only one that got close.
yeah. I think it's kind of the thing that we've had all season where all of us have a show or two that we're a little bit cooler on, but since it's not all of us on the same show, they've been relatively safe.
Yeah.
Like, Lupin at this point, I could kind of take or leave.
Except for Hino. We're all there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's the thing. We've got the shows that we're all super strong on.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, if anything, I'm the one who, with Lupin, Galactic Heroes, and Golden Kamuy, all 3 of those could drop some balls. Like, as things stand, like, as of this arc, Lupin's probably the weakest for my personal tastes. Not in terms of objective quality, because, it's got a lot going for it, and I do see
It's a very
that.
good show.
For me, actually, it's Galactic Heroes.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not for technical qualities or anything like that. It's just the show that is jiving with me the least. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of dry, but But hey, this last episode was a fucking standout, and if it can, keep that up,
that's what I
hey,
was
great.
saying. I can handle the slow pace, like I think more than you two can with this kind of stuff. But if it's more like this, I think that'll do it a lot of good.
Yeah. But we'll find out next week. Come join us, won't you?
Yep. And goodbye, Wotakoi and Tiramisu.
Yep. See you next time.
See you next time.